everyone, it's Jamie and welcome back to my channel and welcome to another cross-stitching update video. It is currently April 29th, which means April is almost over and I still have not met all of my goals yet, which is a little scary. I still have 4 charts that I haven't met the goals on, but they all don't have very many stitches. They all only have like a few hundred. Kind of. One of them has a little bit more than that, but they all don't have very many stitches. So I'm hoping that over the next couple days I can just like hurry and get them done quickly, but we'll see about that. First, I will start off though with what I worked on over the weekend. At the end of my last video, I had spun the wheel and I had picked 3 charts. I had Cozy Winter Book Nook, which I did not work on this weekend. The reason I didn't work on it is because the other charts that were spun all have a yearly goal attached to them and Cozy Winter Book Nook does not. And so I decided that I would go for the charts that have the goals and then kind of ignore Cozy Winter Book Nook until my goals are met. So I ended up working on the Haid Stitch Along and Little Gamer. So I will show those. So the Haid Stitch Along, I am stitching the chart Merry Mushroom Village Picnic number 3, which is artwork by Amy Stewart. I ended up having to do 900 stitches this weekend so that I could finish my goal. My goal on this is to do, I think, 2,500 stitches a month. I technically only need to do, I think, 2,200 from my calculations that I did before to finish the 4 pages, because all I'm trying to do is get 4-page finishes on this, because if I get 4-page finishes, it means I will get the other charts that were part of the stitch along at the end of the year. The reason that I am not doing the 2,200, but I'm trying to do a little bit more, is because this chart needs to be done, I can't remember what day in December, but it needs to be done at a certain day in December so that you can turn in the pictures to get the reward. And so I do not want to be racing at the end of December when it's like the holidays trying to get this finished. So I am trying to do a little bit more so that it will hopefully will be done by December and not sometime in December. So I was working on filling in all of the confetti that is up here in these berries and in this like fruit, and then there's the cupcakes. I was doing confetti there. And then I'm trying to only work on page 1 right now. And so then I was parking a lot of threads so you can see that a lot of the stitches did not go very far on this page before they made it over to page 2 and I had to park them. So there's a lot of park threads right now. And then I also was working on filling in the grass here because this is an easy area to fill in. This is being stitched on a 28 count 2/1 tent stitch, which is a half stitch. And then after I met my goal on the Haid Stitch Along, I decided to work on Little Gamer, which is artwork by Medusa Dollmaker. And I have the chart from Gecko Rouge, but you can find this chart now on the Medusa Dollmaker website because Gecko Rouge does not have Medusa Dollmaker anymore. So here is where I got to on this chart. I finally got the keyboard filled in, so that was exciting. And then I started working up to the Game Boy because a lot of the colors in the keyboard are the same as the colors in the Game Boy. So it just made sense to just go work up there. I still need to do another 350 stitches on this to meet the goal though, so I will be working on it again probably today or tomorrow. I'm not sure yet. And this is being stitched on a 25 count 2/1 tent stitch. The last thing that I worked on, and I did not do it as much as I should have, so I did not stitch it all Friday, and so I am doing daily stitching on Autumn Harmony, trying to do 200 stitches a day, and so I didn't work on her Friday, so she got a little behind, just a hair. So I still have to do another 200 stitches on her to meet my goal for the month, so that is what I'll be working on first actually today. So it's going to be hard to see the progress because I think I moved my hoop. Right now, I am currently stitching on DMC 154, stitching it across the chart. So I am pretty much constantly moving, especially because right now the color is kind of spread out on this area of the chart. I think what I am going to do though is I took a picture of Autumn Harmony at the end of March, and so I think that tomorrow I will be taking a picture of her out of the frame and trying to get a full shot of her so that I compare where I was last month and what I got done this month. Because I feel like I am always like, I don't see the progress. I'm not seeing what I got done. So yeah, I'm going to take pictures so I can compare because I know that it's almost 5,000 stitches. I only have to do another 200 and then it will be at 5,000. So I know I've done 5,000 stitches on her, but because it's scattered, it's just kind of hard to see it. This is an 18 count 2/1 full cross, and I think I am at 37% of the chart, which seems like nothing. It seems like nothing, but it's also the farthest on a full coverage project, I think. I don't think I have any other full coverage charts that are at 37% because I start things and then I just don't stitch on them. Anyways, so what will I be working on today and tomorrow? I will not be spinning the wheel. I wrote down here on this piece of paper everything that I have left that is part of my goals, and my plan is to start at the top and then work my way down. So I put them in order of priority. So Autumn Harmony is a high priority because I have a big goal of how many stitches I want to do on her this year. So I want to do her first with 200 stitches. Then once I do that, I will move on to Little Gamer, which still needs 350 stitches. And then after that, I will move on to Tonight We Ride, which still needs 550 stitches, which that will be the hardest one to meet probably. And then if I get all of that done, then I will work on Cozy Winter Book Nook by Pain Free Crafts and try and do 370 stitches. So that is my plan on what I want to do for today and tomorrow. And then after that, it will be May, and then I get to move on to my May plans, which my May plans are going to be a little bit different than what I have been doing the last couple months, but I will explain that either tomorrow or May 1st. I am not sure yet. So Autumn Harmony, I need to do 200 stitches on her. Here she is now, and I will be back once the goal is met, and then I will show you my starting point on Little Gamer. So I will be back in 200 stitches with Autumn Harmony. Here is Autumn Harmony after 200 more stitches, and I am filming in a different spot so that I can hopefully try and get her fully in view with the picture of where she was at the beginning of the month next to her. So we're gonna back up, and like I said, now I should be able to hold her up fully. I'm trying to look in the camera. Hold on. There we go. I'm trying to look in the camera to make sure that she is in view and that there is room. So here is Autumn Harmony. I did 5,000 stitches on her this month, which is my goal, is to try and do about 5,000 stitches on her every month, and then I should have 60,000 stitches done on her at the end of the year. So there she is. She's very big, but I am loving her so much. This past month, the area I was focusing on this top part here, and then I also started doing the 154 and working it down on this side of her hair. So I did not work at all on this other side here. So here she is. I think she's at 37% now. I don't remember where she was at the beginning of the year, but she's at 37% right now. And I think it's like almost 70,000 stitches done on her. So that's Autumn Harmony. And then I also worked on Little Gamer. Here is where I got on Little Gamer. I think I was only working on the Game Boy. So I just worked on the Game Boy, filling in a lot of the colors. And that got me, I can't remember how many stitches. I think I had to do like 350 stitches, and it was just all in this Game Boy. Now this can be put away because my goal on it is met, which is good because today's the last day of April. So today I will be working on, I have stuff all over here. Today I'll be working on Tonight We Ride. I still need to do 550 stitches to meet my goal on Tonight We Ride. So I will be back, hopefully, with 550 stitches on this. And here is Tonight We Ride after 550 stitches, which means I met my April goal on this chart. I didn't mention it before, but this chart is from Autumn Lane Stitchery. I am stitching it on the fabric. This is Halloween from Witch's Garden Crafts, and I am stitching it 2/1 full cross, hoping to have this finished in August so that I can have it hanging up for Halloween this year, which I'm very excited about. So I managed to meet my goal for April, but it's May 1st, which means April is over. I almost wanted to throw this, and then I was like, restrain yourself. You do not want to be throwing your projects. So for May, I'm not going to do anything really crazy this year. I had thrown around different ideas in a previous video, but I decided what I am going to do is I am going to try and have one finish in the beginning of the month. And when I am working on this chart, I will not be working on anything else. I won't be working on Autumn Harmony. I'm just going to work on this chart until it's finished. And that chart is Festive Frosted Pumpkin Cottage by Witchy Stitcher. And here is where it is right now. I am stitching this on a piece of 28 count fabric called Deep Sea from Crossed Wing Collection. And I'm stitching it 2/2 full cross. I think there are still 1,500 stitches left that are all in the bottom part of the chart, I think, except for the trees. The trees have some snow that's supposed to be on them, plus there is supposed to be some lights, and so I have to go and do that, but that's a lot of like confetti stitches because they're just kind of like booping around all over the tree. So I will be working on this until it is finished, and I'm hoping that I can get it finished somewhat quickly so that then I can move on to the next part of my May plans. And so for the rest of May, I will not be spinning the wheel. My plan is I am going to make a list of all of my projects except Autumn Harmony. After I finish this chart, Autumn Harmony will go back to daily stitching on her to try and get 5,000 stitches this month. And then every other project that I have a goal for is going to go on a list, and I'm going to have my list going with the top priority chart at the top, and then lowest priority will be at the bottom, and then I will stitch on each chart until the goal is met on that chart, cross it off the list, and then move down the list like that. And then that way, when it gets to the end of the month, if I haven't met my goals, the ones that haven't been met will be the least important goals. So like, I'm sorry to say it, but the Haid Stitch Along will probably be towards the bottom of the list because yes, I want to finish the 4 pages, but I will also be least disappointed if I don't meet that goal. It's just kind of like whatever at this point, and I feel like a lot of people probably understand what I mean when I say that. So that will probably be like bottom of the list. And then also WIPGO numbers are just going to have to be kind of like randomly in there. I think that because WIPGO had 3 numbers called this month. There was, I don't remember what the other 2 numbers were, but 13 was called. 13 is a free space. So for some people, it might be nothing. Like they could have just put no chart there. And then I had a new start there. And so then I spent last weekend kind of going through what I have that I could start and trying to decide what I wanted to do. And I actually had new charts that I purchased. Thread Geeks was retiring some Ann Stokes charts, and so I purchased Magic Mirror from Ann Stokes. And then they had it where if you bought 2, you got 1 free, and so I ended up getting a chart from Cat Fedora that's called Finding Dreamland. And then the other one that I got was from Chrisabug, which I think was called Birth of Venus. And I loved all the charts, and I also feel like they're very different, so they give me like a little something different to add to my little chart collection. And so I purchased those, and so I kind of thought about like maybe I should start one of those. I had been thinking about starting my chart from Two Legs Make One X, which I have a chart that's like a Good Omens inspired chart. And the thing is I don't want to start anything big right now. And so like I'm really happy with what I'm working on, so I do not want to have to add something big into my rotation or into my charts or anything right now. So I ended up going through my Google Drive just to see what charts I might have saved on there that I haven't put into Pattern Keeper. I ended up finding 2 charts that are from the Flossy Fox Shop Patreon, and so I think I'm going to start one of those 2 charts. And I like them because they are smaller, but they also are kind of more like spring summery charts, which was what I was looking for, because I mentioned before that I have a lot of Halloween charts, but I'm saving them for like that season. And so I wanted to start something that was more in the season that I am in currently, which we are in spring. So I found the chart Strawberry Farm. I'll insert the mock-up of what it will look like here. And then I also found a chart that was called like Cozy Witch Garden Shed, I think was what it was called. And the Cozy Witch one is not on Patreon anymore. I think that was from last year. And the Patreon charts are only available for I think like 3 months, and then after that they go on to her Etsy shop. So that one is available on Etsy now. And then the Strawberry Farm one I think is still up because I think that was the one from like one of the last couple months was when it was released. So I think that's still on Patreon, but I am not exactly sure. And so yeah, I'm between those 2 charts. Whichever chart I end up picking though, I am going to be stitching it on this here. This is a 14 count fabric. It's one of those DMC printed fabrics where the back is just white. I don't know if you can really tell, but the back is white, and then the other side is like a pinky purpley tones. And I actually think that I could get both of the charts on this one piece of fabric if I cut it correctly and then give myself very little border space, which I'm fine with like having a small border, like it's fine. I don't professionally frame my charts or anything like that, so there's no one to complain about the small border except for me, and I'm not going to complain. So I think that if I cut it to where one of the charts would be going along the Strawberry Farm one, I think would go on this like purpley section. I don't know if you can really tell the color. There we go. This section here is kind of more purpley, and I think the Strawberry Farm one would go here, and then the Witch Shed one would go on this section that's more pinks. And I think that's what I might do. I'm just not sure which chart I want to start right now. I think I might start one of the charts now and then the other one in the summer, so I might end up with 2 new starts from Flossy Fox Shop. But I'm really happy that I found those because like I said, I want something that's smaller and more seasonally appropriate because I haven't stitched a lot of like spring summery things yet, and so I kind of would like to have some things for spring and summer because I have done Halloween. Right now I'm stitching a lot of Halloween, and then I also have done a lot of like winter stuff, so I need to get some more seasonally appropriate things for spring and summer. So that is my plans for May. Later, I still need to go and make my list of my projects and put them in order of like top priority to lowest priority. I know that top priority pieces will be things that need to be finished this year. So Tonight We Ride will be a top priority piece. Kita will be a top priority piece. Little Gamer, I'm not trying to finish it this year, but I want to do 30,000 stitches on it this year, so that will also be a top priority. And then the lower priority will just, like I said, be like the Haid Stitch Along, and like I'll probably put Cozy Winter Book Nook towards the bottom of the list, just because if I have time, I would like to stitch on it. I just don't know how much time I'll have, which will depend on how long it takes me to finish this. So I will go and get to stitching, and then I will be back with an update on this chart. And I am back with a finish on Festive Frosted Pumpkin Cottage. I am really excited that I was able to get this finished by this video. It is currently Friday, and I started working on this on Wednesday. And I've mentioned before that when I want to get something finished, I usually will stitch on it a lot. Like I don't want to put it down. I am just focused on it. So on Wednesday, I think I did like 800 or 900 stitches, and then yesterday I only had to do, I think it was like 570 stitches, and then I did back stitching. So there is back stitching in the lanterns here. All the lanterns have them. There is back stitching in the little pumpkin snowman. There's back stitching that goes around the candy canes and then in all the windows of the house. And then on the other side it's the same thing. So the lanterns have the back stitching. There is back stitching for the legs for the bat hanging from the tree, and then more back stitching in the windows. And so yeah, it wasn't a ton of back stitching, so it didn't really take that long. Oh, and then there's also back stitching for the candle up here in the wreath. That yellow there is back stitching. So there wasn't a ton of back stitching, but I did get it all done yesterday, and so I'm excited to have my first finish for May, my only finish for May. I've only had, I think, 2 finishes so far this year, including this, so I don't have a ton of finishes usually because my projects are so big, so whenever I get one, I'm very excited. And that means that I get to move on to my other May plans. So my other plans for May, I had kind of mentioned it a little bit before, is I wanted to put all of my projects onto a list, all my projects that have goals, put them all onto a list, and then I will work on them going down the list, and I will only switch projects once I have met the goal on that project. So I made my list. I will insert the picture here, and at the top of my list I put Tonight We Ride because that is a project that I want to get finished this year, and it's the one that's supposed to get finished next. So I think it's supposed to be finished in August, and then after that the next project that's supposed to get finished is Kita, and so I put her second on the list because things that are supposed to get finished definitely need the stitches done on them if I want to meet that goal. So I will pull out Tonight We Ride. Here is where my starting point is on Tonight We Ride for this month. I need to do 1,500 stitches so that I can get it finished by August. And then my plans for all my other projects, I will be going back to daily stitching on Autumn Harmony, so I will hold her up real quick. And this month I will be stitching just DMC 154. I still have to do 5,000, I think 600 stitches of that color, and then I'm supposed to do 5,000 stitches this month, which means that I'm not going to be finished with that color this month, I don't think. And I will be starting this weekend by doing my stitching on this side of her again, because that's where I was stitching on her last month, so I will be stitching just in that area. I'm going to show like a bigger picture of the starting point because the stitches are kind of scattered around, so I don't know exactly where the stitches will be going in at. So there's Autumn Harmony, and then the way that I decided to tackle my Whip Go pieces for this month is I decided that I would put them in 4 different weekends. So there's technically 4 weekends in May, and what I'm doing is I'm putting a project in for each of the first 3 weekends, and then the last weekend will be used for if I didn't meet any of my Whip Go goals, then I will work on them the last weekend in May. So the first project that I will be working on for this weekend that's coming up is Santa's on His Way, which is by Charting Creations. And I need to do 1,000 stitches on all of my WIPGO pieces to meet my goal. And my starting point, there's threads hanging everywhere. This is my starting point on this chart. I will most likely just fill in some of the background because the background is really easy to get stitching done on because it's just one color in this top section. So that would be really easy to get my 1,000 stitches done on this and not take too much time, because I would also like to work on Tonight We Ride this weekend because I don't want it to take too long to get my stitches done on Tonight We Ride before I can move on to the next project. So that is what I will be working on for my stitching. And then also for my new start for WIPGO, I did decide that the piece I would work on is, I would do a new start on Strawberry Farm, which is by Flossie Fox Shop. Right now it's currently only available in her Patreon, and I think I'm doing it on this one DMC printed fabric that I talked about, and I already put the floss onto some floss cards, and there is my floss and the fabric. So I'm excited to have that as a new start. And I put that in for weekend 2 because I want to be able to start that Mother's Day weekend, which will be the second weekend in May. So I will get to have a new start for Mother's Day. So that is all that I have. Cross stitch wise, knitting, I do have a tiny bit of knitting because I was working on my sock and I'm really close to having a finished sock. So the last time I had showed it, I had done the ribbing and then I was just working on the leg portion. And I have done my heel and the turn and the gusset and all that. And then I am now working on the foot. And then I just need to knit a little bit more, I think, and then I will be able to start doing the toe decrease, and then I'll have a finished sock. So I'm excited to possibly have a finished sock this weekend. Maybe, we will see. And I am stitching this using the yarn Sailor Venus, which was from Pearl Scout Yarns, who no longer dyes yarn. So I almost have a sock. And this pattern is the vanilla sock using DPNs from Crazy Sock Lady on YouTube and Ravelry. So that is all that I have for this video, though. I am going to go so that I can get to stitching and also get this video up so that it can go up today. And I hope that you all are having a great weekend, and I will see you all in my next video next week. Bye!